Little bumblebee there. See if we can get him on. There he is. Look how much good work he's doing. Oh my God. This guy's out here just working all day, all night. Pollinating the flowers. Yeah. I like the purple, you know? Like, God was just like, you gotta put some purple on there. You know, it's too green. You need a little bit of that purple. Oh, that is so nice. See the sun setting behind the trees there? Wow. What kind of tree is this? This is, you guys know? We gotta... Do I care? Oh, it's an oak tree. That's an oak tree. No more need to investigate. I already know what this object is. I've categorized it and labeled it. Labeled and categorized, now I know what it is. No more need for investigation. We got it locked in the brain. We're gonna go on a forest trail. There's a lot of skeetos. There's a lot of skeetos in the forest, but we're gonna go try it out anyways. I got short sleeves, so obviously I had to flex so I can show you my short sleeves. Yeah, we're gonna... I forgot my long sleeves, but we're gonna go in the forest. It's like a forest walk in the forest kind of night. I have some good insights about life. Hello everyone, thanks for coming. Thank you. Hello. I got some very interesting insights about like, whew, you know what I mean. But we're not gonna force them to come out. If they don't come out, that's fine. We'll save them for another time. But at least we're gonna look at the pretty clouds. Whee. Wow. I learned a lesson recently. The lesson I learned is that the the stuff that you absorb, like in your sense doors. Hopefully the audio is all right, guys. Hopefully you can hear me fine. The stuff that you absorb in your sense doors. So that's like the stuff you see, the stuff you hear, the stuff you taste, you know, the stuff you eat, the stuff you smell, the stuff you touch, right? That actually becomes part of you, right? So that becomes part of your consciousness. So, simple example, when you hang out with someone, right? You're hearing them talk. You're hearing, there's a squirrel. There's this one guy who comments on all my videos who, like, whenever there's a squirrel, he like will put the timestamp. Thanks. That's so funny. I think his name's Tyler or something. Appreciate that. Oh, 226. There's a squirrel. Yeah, like whatever you give your attention to is like actually becoming part of you. And eventually you're going to have to process that within yourself. If you don't process, like, so simple example, the other night I was watching a movie with my family. My mom and dad, they were watching The Wolf of Wall Street with my sister. One of my favorite movies, actually. I love The Wolf of Wall Street. But, like, I wouldn't sit down and watch the whole movie, like, today. Because it's a lot of, like, there's a lot of shit in there, you know? Like, it's nothing wrong with, you know, watching. I'm saying, like, I didn't really want, like, I would watch little parts of it, but I couldn't sit through the whole movie. There's a lot of stuff I have to, like, process. You know what I mean? Like, when you watch a movie, you have to process the movie. Like, you have to, like, maybe this is just me, but, like, when I meditate, right, and I, by myself, or I'm falling asleep at night, like, you know, after you watch a movie or a show or something, you think about it after. You know, it's like you have to chew on it. You have to digest it. Right? So actually the information you absorb is very, very, very similar to the food that you eat. They're very, very similar. So people who consistently, habitually absorb low quality info, check out where we're going, guys. Whoa. I like reality. Yeah. If you habitually absorb low quality info, then it usually connects to the type of food you eat too. Then you habitually absorb low quality food. And then you have a low quality life. You get sick and then you die. Right. So I've been harping on the food a lot, right, on my channel. You guys already know I've been talking about food like constantly. With the medical medium info and so forth. That's like the highest consciousness food on planet Earth. Okay? The best food information in existence. How am I even able to give you the best food information in existence? Because I literally spent a decade just absorbing hundreds of books from some of the highest consciousness sources on planet Earth. Literally. I actually spent over 10,000 hours just hanging out virtually through books, sometimes in person, sometimes over Zoom, sometimes through YouTube videos, whatever it is, but I've spent over 10,000 hours just hanging out virtually and sometimes in person with some of the highest consciousness humans on planet Earth. So when I say things like, oh, this is the highest consciousness diet info on planet Earth, right? The best diet info that exists. People say, well, how's that possible? You know, what's your credibility, Adam? What's your authority? It's difficult to explain that. I'm not a specialist, I'm a generalist. I generally understand many different subjects in reality. And it took me so long that when I have very heightened intuition, it's kind of not really something that's very popular. How do you know? Your intuition tells you? Yeah, if you have really good intuition like me, and you've been building it and honing it and working on it for like literally a decade, and even before that, it's like, yeah, my intuition does tell me. But it's not only that. Anyways, sorry, I'll stop talking about the diet stuff. Got it. Yeah, just enjoy the walk a little bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Let me just see if there's any chatters, maybe. I did an acid trip here once, a while ago. It was like up there, in that sort of like tree area. I think I have a trip report on my channel with clips. It's a while ago. Must be like a 6-year-old video or something. It's like my LSD spiritual awakening trip report. It's a really good video. Yeah. So like everything you absorb in your life, you have to process it. You know, so when you hang out with certain people, you become like them, you know, like you have to process the way they think, the way they talk, the way they stand, the way they hold their body. Are they dense? Are they tight? Do they talk a lot about like just nonsense? You know, what are they focusing on? If you hang out with someone for a long time, you become like them. So actually a big part of my journey for consciousness growth is actually guarding my sense doors. This is what they actually talk about in Buddhism a lot. There's like, you know, it's only like, do you guys hear that? What the fuck is that noise? We gotta go closer. We must investigate. Bro, that sounds like a fusa. No clue what that is. Yeah, so it's like 3,000-year-old information. There's people. Should I walk around? Should I wait? What should I do? I'm gonna just like go this way. I'm gonna go around the people. Yeah, a big part of my journey's been learning about guarding my sense doors. It's kind of contradictory. Like, you think that when you become very conscious, it makes you like immortal and impervious, right? You can hang out with anyone, you can do anything, and you won't take damage. Like, but what I've been learning is that actually higher consciousness is actually so sensitive that you become kind of fragile, meaning like you can't spend, for example, like my meditation teacher, when he drinks coffee, he can't drink it because he'll have one sip and then he'll like be bouncing off the walls for like the entire night and he won't sleep, even if he has one tiny sip of coffee, right? So as you raise your consciousness, you actually become more sensitive, and in a sense it sort of makes you more fragile. You have to become more discerning about what you're letting into your body and mind. What kind of groups are you going and hanging out with? What kind of videos are you watching? Movies? As you raise your consciousness, you become a little bit more sensitive, and you don't really want to spend too much time absorbing information that kind of gives you a negative energy exchange. For example, like listening to music that like is too loud and it sort of distorts your energy, and doesn't mean there's a time and a place for everything. But you know, when you go to like a club and the movies like and the music is like pounding and blasting and kind of disrupts your nervous system. You know, that was me last night. I went to this party. I on my last live stream yesterday, I mentioned I was going to a beach party, and I did, maybe against my better judgment, but it was like, you know, I've kind of followed my, you know, I made an okay decision. And when I was there, I sort of realized like, holy shit, this is like not good for my energy. Like, it was too much. Like, the type of people that were there were the type of people that I don't really want to become like, you know. I don't really see myself hanging out with them, you know, in my future and stuff. So, you know, you absorb people's body movements, you absorb their voices, you absorb what they're talking about, you absorb the smells, how they smell. I know it's very like, what kind of things are they lighting, and the fragrances that they wear, all of these factors. You know, you touch their body, you can feel tension in their body, or at least I can. What the hell is this little gopher? A little gopher in there. Aw. He's hiding in the brush. Hello, everyone. Yeah, when I'm at this party, you feel, you like can touch someone. Like if I touch a tree, you can feel it. You know, there's an energy exchange. Oh, that feels good. That's a good energy exchange. See, there's like, it's a nice energy exchange. But you touch a, you know, a certain person, right, who's carrying a lot of sort of dense energy, that's like, you touch them, you know. It's like you have to now process that energy. You know, I'm very sensitive to people's energy and stuff. So like if I touch your hand or whatever, I literally feel your fucking your whole energy, and I gotta like I gotta like, you know, you gotta process it, right? In Oriental cultures in the East, they don't even touch each other. They just bow like this because it's a very low energy exchange. That's why before you close a deal, actually, when you're in business, after you close a deal, you shake hands, because you need to feel the other person's intentions. You can feel if it's genuine. You shake someone's hand, you feel them. You fucking feel them. You know what I'm saying? You can actually feel, is there a connection, or is there not is there like, what are they holding? You know what I mean? You shake someone's hand, I can feel where it's like tense and tight, and like it's like if they're holding back or they're hiding. You feel when people are hiding, they don't want to show me their energy, or they don't want to show themselves their energy, because it's like it's not good. It's not a good energy, so you have to hide it, you know? So then I feel the tension there that comes from the hiding, and then, you know, so, but, you know, when someone is in alignment or in integrity or whatever, you shake their hand, there's like a connection, like a click, you know, you feel it's just genuine. It's a heart to heart, you know, and you don't really usually have to end up processing that much. Very interesting. I like live streaming. It's so easy. There's no editing or anything. Yeah, I had a really deep spiritual awakening in this specific little like alcove here. It was on LSD, granted, but it was a very powerful experience for me. I became one with the timeless self, which I already was one with. I remember looking out in there and thinking of the quote, "Wisdom says I am nothing. Love says I am everything. And between the two, my life moves." I love that quote. It's Nisargadatta Maharaj. Yeah, so I went to this beach party yesterday, and I was just like, maybe wasn't the most aligned. I sort of learned, you know, you learn from experience. That's the thing. Like I had to spend the whole day sort of like recovering today, but I had to recover like energetically, you know. So a lot of time when you struggle with like making art consistently, right? So the thing with making art, or just, you know, showing up, you know, making things publicly, you don't want to show up because you don't feel like you're in a good energy, right? That's basically why. If you don't feel like you're in a good energy, you don't feel confident, you know, you don't feel proud of yourself, you don't feel excited, you don't feel ready to show yourself. You know, you don't feel like your best self, basically. You don't feel ready to go. So a big part of my work is like I have to get into the right energy state before I like talk or share energy. If I'm not doing well, you know, I don't really want to make a video. Yeah. So there's this idea, you know, the business people will tell you, just do it whether you feel like it or not, you know, force yourself to do it. That's only like half the truth. check it out. We're gonna go down to the river. Yeah, the popular business advice is like, do it whether you feel like it or not. You know, force yourself to do it. And it's like, I don't know. Like, it's good for getting out of like a really low realm. So like if you've been in your room playing video games and masturbating, which I've done a lot, if you've been doing that for like 2 weeks straight, then yeah, maybe you do need to force yourself to like go outside, you know, and like go, you know, put your feet in the river or go like touch some grass, basically, you know. Maybe there's a little bit of force involved there to just sort of, it's like, what's the word? The activation energy that like to start a new habit, to push yourself into momentum or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So that's true. But then if I'm trying to create some like beautiful art and I'm trying to like help people raise their consciousness and stuff, if I'm not feeling good, I can't force myself to feel good so that I can help people. You know what I mean? Whew. I like this river. So all this to say, when I went to that beach party yesterday, I sort of like, I wasn't feeling good the next day, you know, because there was all this energy. I had to like, it was yucky, you know, I felt all this yucky energy. It was just other people, I touched their hands and stuff and felt all their energy. It wasn't the best spot to be, honestly. Maybe, you know, I probably won't go back there. I'll probably go to some higher quality gatherings that are a little bit more aligned for me, you know? But I just had to process like all of this stuff. Not getting any comments that this stream. Very interesting. I keep checking. It's all right. Hey everyone. Sure you're listening. Thanks for being here. Yeah. So let's talk about quitting addictions, right? This was a popular topic in the last stream, quitting addictions. The one reason why you have these sort of addictive patterns like watching porn or playing video games or smoking cigarettes or smoking weed or scrolling on your phone endlessly all day, right? The reason why is because there's this whole nested web of holistic factors that all starts with like your whole life. You know, it's like your whole life. So people try to solve addictions like in a vacuum. They try to isolate the variable of just addictions. And they try to come up with some sort of technique or tip or tool. Like, how do I solve this addiction? Maybe I need to get rid of the trigger, or maybe I need to do this, or maybe I need to do that, or maybe I need to go to therapy, or whatever it is. Those are all good ideas, okay? But solving an addiction, I found in my experience, doesn't always involve isolating one particular variable. Usually you have to sort of bring your entire life like into the picture. There's this quote, it's like, when you, how does it go? It's like when you hook on to one part of the universe, you bring the rest of the universe with it, or like you cast out your line. Anyways, so the thing with addictions is like there's so many factors in your life that you need to solve that is all contributing to this negative energy field that's in your body where you feel lacking inside, like in your body you don't feel good. So we actually use these sorts of like habits, right, to make us feel better because we don't feel good. So that's the core thing. So how do you feel good? Well, it requires 10 years of self-actualization. It requires 20 years of self-actualization. There's no quick fix. There's no magic pill. You need to like actually raise your awareness. Like you need to actually like expand your mind. You need to think new thoughts. You need to be open to new ways of thinking. Hey, man, welcome. Thanks for commenting. You're the first comment of the stream. What's good, man? You want to feel better in your life so that you can quit addictions. That's a long-term process that won't happen quickly. That's not a short game. That's like a 10-year vision. When I started my self-actualization journey, I was really addicted to porn and weed and video games and junk food, right? Yeah, ask away. I'm open to questions. It took me like literally 10 years of like up and down and up and down and up and down and learning and growing through it. I had to learn and grow through it until I had enough awareness to actually understand what was fueling the addiction. Why was I doing it? Shining light, awareness, understanding on the roots of why are you even behaving this way? My meditation teacher always says, what moves you? Good luck with your trip this weekend, man. I don't know if I can give you too many recommendations. I already made a couple videos about tips for tripping, so I'm sure you've watched those. Yeah, it's difficult. I'm not going to give any recommendations because there's a lot that I would have to tell you, and I recommend just be in a safe location. Don't eat too much garbage beforehand. Try to eat pretty clean beforehand. Stay hydrated. Lemon water. Coconut water is a good idea. Stay hydrated. And good luck, man. This shit's fucking scary and dangerous. So, you know, you better be careful. Okay, it's not a game. Make sure you're doing it with the right people. I know you said you're doing it with your friends. Make sure you check in. Are your friends actually ready? Are you actually ready? There's gonna be shit that's shown to you. Are you ready to look at it? You ready to look at your shit? Or are you just gonna distract yourself and fucking play video games the whole time? So the best thing I recommend is really check your motivations. Why are you doing it? What do you want out of it? I bless your trip. You know, I hope it's a good time, and I'm encouraging you to make sure to set positive intentions. Have an intention when you go into the trip. That's key. Be intentional about it. What are you looking for? You know, what do you want to create? What kind of questions do you want to have answered? That's really good advice. Check with your intentions. Spend 10 minutes by yourself praying. Make sure everyone gets enough alone time as well. You don't want to spend the entire trip all near each other. Sometimes you guys are going to need time to like go off by yourself. Yeah, you got it, man. I believe in you. I feel like you're in a good place. I'm feeling your energy a little bit through your comments. I feel like you're gonna have a good time, but you just, again, so I'm giving you my advice, which is have some time and some space to, be by yourselves. Someone might need to spend, some time in a room by himself, or he might need to go for a walk or something. Okay. So, and food, you want to prep some nice like fruits and vegetables kind of thing, apples, bananas, grapes, strawberries, that kind of stuff, cherries. Okay, have a lot of that ready. You might want to have some, like, for dinner after you're going to be hungry. You might want maybe some like rice, sorry, like I like rice and vegetables kind of thing, like broccoli, potatoes, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And just be careful, dude. Like, it's a big shock to your system. Okay, so you really want to make sure you're gentle with yourself. Like, you're going into a portal, man. So you want to have like the next day set up so you don't have anything to do the next day. That's very important. Like, if your friend has to like go to work the next day, that's a bad fucking idea. Okay, you want to have at least 1 or 2 days to like just like calm down after you do your trip. It's a shocking experience for your nervous system. It can be traumatic, actually. So you literally need to like ground. Yeah, going out to the beach. Well, listen, if there's a lot of people at the beach, that's a horrendous idea. Horrible idea. You don't want to go where there's like tons of people. Okay? You want to be a little bit careful. Like, maybe you want to have like a private area where you can peek. And then after you peak, after like 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours, after 4 or 5 hours, maybe as you're coming down, yeah, then maybe you can go for a walk on the beach. That's fine. But if you're having a powerful fucking LSD trip, you, you know, it's good to have that sort of alone time. If you're going out to some popular beach in the middle of the summer where there's tons of people everywhere, how's that gonna feel when you're fucking peaking on acid? Like, are you gonna be able to do self-reflection? See, so I'm just getting the sense that you're not really trying to do self-reflection. You're just trying to like have a good time, sort of vibe. Okay, so I might be the wrong person to ask for that. Okay. Yeah. It's okay to have a good time, but you want to be careful, man. I don't really recommend even doing psychedelics at all, to be honest. So, yeah. Those videos I made are 7 years old, so can help you, man. Just be careful. Okay, set positive intentions. That's key. Check your motivations. Why are you doing it? You don't want to get yourself into trouble, okay? Yeah. Thanks for asking, though. Yeah, if I was peaking on acid and then, this is a little bunny. If I was peaking on acid and then I went to the beach and there's like 100 people there, I'd probably want to go away from them because my consciousness is literally expanding and you become very sensitive. So this is exactly what I was saying in my video. We'll tie everything up for those watching the recording and stuff. Raising your consciousness makes you more sensitive. You start to see shit that's like you weren't able to face before. For example, like think about how polluted the water is that you drink, and and all the the chemicals, the metals that are in there, right? There's different metals. There's like arsenic. Yeah, you guys. Yeah, you know, man. I'm just watching out for you guys. You know, I don't want you to get in over your head. Just yeah, I believe in you. I think you'll learn some good things, and if you feel called to it, and if you feel like it's your time, then trust that, man. And just be conscious with it. I bless your trip, though. I hope you guys have a safe and mind opening experience. Whew. Yeah, so like for example with the medical medium information, right? It's funny because most people aren't actually conscious enough to be able to handle the rude awakening after rude awakening after rude awakening after rude, so one thing I learned, the one of the points of meditation is actually to build merit. What does merit mean? In Buddhism there's this term, building merit. Building merit actually means building your resilience, your psychological resilience, which means your ability to stay with experiences. Setting up on the tripod here. So the thing with reality is that it's shocking and scary, and all of us have traumatic memories that we have, and it's not even, sometimes we have like our family's trauma that we have to process as well. Sometimes we have to process the whole world's trauma, okay? So there's a lot of like shocking things that are present within your body and within consciousness in general. So in order to become omniscient, like the Buddha, all-knowing, right? So to become enlightened means to become omniscient, right? If you want to become all-knowing and all-omniscient, what you need to do is you need to cultivate your merit. Okay, so merit means your mental resilience. You need to cultivate the ability to sit even-mindedly and to be able to gently observe phenomena. So yeah. So yeah. When you do meditation, you sit quietly, right? Hey Daniel, what's good? When you do things that raise your consciousness, such as meditation or movement work or even therapy, right? The whole point of therapy, movement work is we need to develop the ability to be with all experiences. Many of them are scary and shocking and difficult to process. So most humans don't actually have the capacity to process experiences. So we ignore them because they're too scary. They stay in the dark. You're welcome, man. Yeah, thanks for coming. Most of us like to keep parts of reality and parts of our minds and parts of our bodies and parts of our family and parts of the world and parts of ourselves. We like to keep them in the dark because we don't know how to process reality. Like we literally are unable to accept the truth. Okay? This is a massive portion of spiritual work, is cultivating open awareness, compassionate, kind, gentle, accommodating awareness. Okay? The more you can cultivate your ability to be accommodating for all experiences within your mind and body through practice, it requires practice. A daily basis, you sit with yourself, actually practice accommodating the way your mind and body is feeling. Hold space for yourself kindly and gently. That's why meditation is like the fast track of personal growth. You'll be able to become a very evolved human being, psychologically, emotionally, intellectually. You'll be able to become very evolved very quickly if you install some sort of awareness practice into your life. So the more you're able to be with yourself and what's going on inside you and around you, everything is happening inside you, right? Because everything is your consciousness. So every experience that happens around you, that's also happening inside you, right? Because it's inside your consciousness. So we need some sort of practice or some sort of habit or some sort of ability to practice sitting with the truth, right? Maybe like an hour a day kind of thing. You just sit with yourself and you feel. There's a lot of shit, it doesn't always feel good. There's always a lot of stuff you have to process. So you can't become the Buddha, which means you can't become the omniscient one. You can't be the omniscient one unless you literally process every single piece of existence, including the torturing children and, raping innocent, excuse me, my language, but, this is the truth. Can you process it? You able to process the truth? There's shit happening, disgusting, horrible, terrible, bad, stuff that you've done, Can you process that? Can you sit with that? Can you hold space for that? Can you forgive yourself for that? Can you be kind towards yourself around that? Can you be kind towards reality and experience? So that's how meditation works, basically, is you cultivate resilience and capacity to be with experience in an open sort of mind. So if you ever hang out with like an enlightened master, he's very, 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 he or she is very, very open and accommodating. very non-judgmental. They're able to handle your stuff. That's sort of the mark of an enlightened masters. They're able to handle experience. But they're very non-reactive, meaning they're there, just like curiously investigating what is arising now. Taking a pee, 1 second. Also, after you process a lot of stuff, eventually you start to make different choices. You become more aware of cause and effect. If I hang out with this friend or this type of person, then it leads to this state of consciousness. If I eat this food, it leads to this state of consciousness or this feeling. If I play this game, it leads to this feeling. So you just become more aware of cause and effect. What, when I watch this video, it makes me feel like this. So eventually you just sort of become more aware of what plants to water in your mind and in your life, and which ones are the weeds that you just sort of don't give them much attention, or maybe a little bit of attention, but you don't keep feeding them, basically. Whew. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. This was my walk. Thanks for joining me on my walk. That was fun. I wanted to share some information. I had a bit of a tough day today, as I mentioned, because I still had to recharge. My whole nervous system was like kind of shot from the event that I went to yesterday. It was sort of out of alignment for me. So I learned. I'm glad that I was still able to, I don't know, share something. I've been enjoying these live streams. I'm going to be doing more of this, and I'm not going to force it. We'll go with the flow. Okay. I'm having a free meeting in my community. It's a free community. You can find it on my website, adammiceli.com. Okay, go to adammiceli.com. I got a community, I got resources, I got a free book list, I got my blog, I got a lot of articles written there, and a lot of stuff there, my newsletter, okay? So, yeah, there's a free gathering, like a Zoom call. So instead of you typing to me, you can actually talk to me. I see you face to face. We can hang out for a bit, answer questions and stuff. I'm also creating a sort of private container for people who are very serious about this work, who are serious about raising their consciousness and self-actualization, and who are really ready to invest into themselves financially and energetically, and with their time and with their energy. They want to meet with me and with a small group of people every single week, and they just want to be part of this container where we focus on becoming a more authentic version of you, becoming more self-actualized, more conscious, more accommodating. We meditate together, right? We build merit. How do I translate that into Western speak? It means basically we're going to help you raise your consciousness, become more aware of what's actually running your life. So you can actually see what's going on in there, right? Why do I have these habits? Why do I have these thoughts? Why do I have these, disagreements with my loved ones? Why do I want this? What's my passion? What do I want to move towards more of in my life? So if you want a very advanced and unique and original understanding of spirituality that is very, I want to say, is legit. Like, I'm not lying here. Like it's I'm not perfect, I'm not a master, but I have tons of experience, and a lot of the insights I have are you won't actually find like on the internet sitting somewhere, because to be frank, most people haven't done, the kind of work that I've done. And most people are just sort of copying everyone else, so very rarely will you find a true independent, like original thinker. I'll help you think through a lot of these ideas, these spiritual ideas, these life ideas, life purpose, health, business, relationships, and so forth. All right, help you work through this stuff slowly, gradually. It's not a quick fix. That's why it's a weekly container, sort of a long-term thing. We talk, and the ultimate result is we help you take your life seriously and become the best version of yourself. We help you expand and grow. I'm not going to be your main crutch, right? But if you do feel like it would be beneficial for you to have a sort of support system that helps to sort of pull you upwards towards higher levels of consciousness with new ideas, exciting ideas, all together we're setting this sort of intention. It's a collective thing. It's a group effort, basically. We're setting the intention that each week we meet and we actually put in the energy and the effort to ask questions and to talk about this whole process of raising consciousness for yourself, first and foremost, and just understanding life, right? Understanding the big picture. What's the main goal, the overarching goal of existence, right? This is sort of my expertise. This is what sets me apart from other, I guess, guides, right? So what sets me apart is this sort of broad view, this very extremely zoomed out view that actually took over a decade of work of like reading books and meditating and thinking and contemplating and spending tens of thousands of over 10,000 hours with teachers and mentors and so forth. There's the very broad view where we can zoom out and look at the big picture. Why are we here? What are we meant to do? How do we use our gifts? How do we allow the Lord, the Lord of love, how do we let the Lord of love move through us for the benefit of all beings? How do we exercise our gifts and how do we fulfill our purpose and our destiny on earth? How do we let God move through us to work through us? How do we develop ourselves psychologically? How do we raise ourselves up the stages of spiral dynamics in a healthy, gradual sort of way, in a conscious kind of way where, you can't rush growth? So that's one thing with my whole strategy. A lot of coaches, or I don't really like seeing myself as a coach, but a lot of guides or whatever, they'll sort of put you on some program. It'll be like a 6-week program, and then you're supposed to like transform at the end of the program. That sometimes can work, but what I've found in my experience with my clients, working with clients for over 4 years, I find that the less we stick to programs, actually the more organic everything is, and everything sort of unfold spontaneously. Okay, so we have a loose vision for where you're moving you towards, which is ultimate utilization of your gifts and passions and living in alignment with God and with the purpose of, I don't know, what you want your life to be, basically, right? um, Alongside, a higher source as well. We work towards uncovering that within yourself. Each person gets a lot of focused time since it's a private group and there's a financial investment. Each person can get a lot of time and energy from me and from the rest of the group. So yeah, that's really exciting. If you're interested in joining that, just like send me an email or a message on school in my community. You can send me a message on Instagram. So there's a lot of ways to contact me on my website. Okay, so if you go to adammiceli.com, the barrier to entry is to like find out how to contact me. And if you can do that successfully, then we'll talk about that private container and if you'd like to be a part of it and how it might be beneficial for you and your overall vision of your overall growth, basically. All right, I'm really excited about this. I would love for you to be part of it. I think that'd be so fun. Amazing things come out of these containers that I do. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. I gotta go home. It's getting dark. Thanks for coming. See you soon. Peace.